What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nintendo Land. Sorry if my nose sounds a little stuffy. I'm still getting over a cold, but yes, it's actually happening. A Nintendo Direct is happening tomorrow. Yes, the Switch 2 Direct is still next week on Wednesday, but Nintendo is giving us a two-course meal here. We're getting a Switch 1 Direct tomorrow, and it states on Twitter, tune in tomorrow, March 27th at 7 a.m. Pacific for a live-stream Nintendo Direct, featuring around 30 minutes of upcoming games for Nintendo Switch. There will be no updates about Nintendo Switch 2 during this presentation. Of course, because that's all for next week. But yeah, I had to throw that joke in at the beginning because it was just ridiculous how everybody was blasting me for my video I put up the other day when literally it says rumor in the title, it says rumor in the thumbnail. I talk about it being a rumor in the video and even that I don't believe it in the video, yet everyone was blasting me saying that I'm spreading false information. But either way, it's happening. Yeah, but real quick, we are just 7 days away into the Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct. Yes, we have one tomorrow, but this one is the one that we've been waiting for so long. So 7 days away, just 1 week left. This is exciting to have a Direct before the Direct. Like, what kind of time period are we in? And also, before we dive in, we have the question of the day. Today's question comes from EMP89 and states, hypothetically, if one of Nintendo's main series were to have a final epic game to conclude its entire series, which series would you choose? What would you want in the game and why? Came down between two franchises for sure. At first I wanted to say Splatoon, but technically Splatoon's kind of already ended its trilogy of games with kind of a bang, kind of incorporating all the different idols and characters and story into one cohesive story, and the side order DLC with Off the Hook kind of added more to that as well. So I would probably have to choose Smash Brothers. If we had to get one final Smash Brothers game, I would want it to be pretty much as big as Ultimate with a couple new characters, but ultimately a huge, actually ambitious story mode and bringing back everything that was so great about the past games. Actually having trophies this time around, true story mode with tons of boss battles from across these different franchises, and obviously cutscenes like Subspace Emissary, where we also have 2D action-adventure levels. I would love to see cutscenes that are even voiced by a lot of these characters, of them interacting with each other. Smash Ultimate has such an insane roster, so having that roster but with cutscenes and these characters going on an adventure together in their different groups like they did in Subspace for Brawl would be so cool. I guess my answer would be like an ultimate Smash Brothers to end it all, but I hope that never happens. I would never want Smash Brothers to end. It's just too good of a series. Only 6 more questions left. Make sure you comment the word hype in all caps, followed by your Switch 2 hype comment. Right off the bat, I know a lot of people like to think that Nintendo is not going to do this or they're not going to do that because it's just out of the norm. We need to get to the mindset that Nintendo is not in the norm anymore. Nintendo is doing their own completely wacky random thing that's just against everything that they've been known to do in the last 7 years. I mean, for crying out loud, remember when everyone was saying 2 months ago that Nintendo would never reveal their next hardware and just like a Twitter drop or just a YouTube drop? Well, they did. No announcement, nothing. They just dropped a trailer for the Switch 2 online, and it even showed a brand new Mario Kart, a glimpse of it at least, but a brand new Mario Kart. That's just weird, it's crazy, it's unheard of for Nintendo. Nintendo's never done that, so we need to have that mindset from now on moving forward because we don't know what Nintendo's plans are. This could just be them acting weird with Switch 2, or it could be the way they handle things in the future. Who knows? More surprises, more shadow drops, but either way, a Switch 1 Direct is coming. And a lot of people might be thinking to themselves, why? Why are we having a Switch 1 Direct before Switch 2? But like I said in my video the other day, it makes a lot of sense when you actually break it down and figure out why. The Switch 2 Direct is going to be massive. It is going to be one of the biggest shows we've ever gotten. You know, with the Direct announced 2.5 months in advance, like we are ready for this thing. This thing is going to bring so many great Switch 2 announcements. I can't wait. But even with that said, Nintendo doesn't want to have the show have any filler. Like this show is going to be, you know, probably banger after banger after banger, whether it be all first party or first party and big third party. They're not going to have any farming simulators, any of those small little indie games that people just roll their eyes over in these Directs. And they need to get that stuff out beforehand because Nintendo has contracts with third-party developers. They have, you know, their own smaller first-party games that they want to announce. And what's a better way to do that than to get it all out of the way a week before in their own Nintendo Direct? Now, this isn't even a partner or even a mini. This is a full-blown Nintendo Direct. It's not as long as a normal Nintendo Direct, which is normally around 40 to 45 minutes. This one's only being 30 minutes in length, so it's probably not going to be anything super-duper amazing, but there are going to be some surprises, I'm sure. For it to be a general Nintendo Direct, it's probably going to start off with something really interesting, end with something very interesting, and probably have something pretty interesting in the middle as well. But the question is, what are they going to show off, and what do they need to show off before the Switch 2? Now, this is something that I talked about back in February, where we all thought we was going to have a February Nintendo Direct, and we never got one. This is exactly what I think is going to happen. I think this Direct is going to be mainly focused on some smaller third-party games, and the first-party games here are going to be, you know, once again, smaller Nintendo games to kind of satisfy us until Switch 2 comes out. There's rumors saying around May or even June, so yeah, maybe a couple months of some Switch remakes, remasters, and ports. That's probably the most we're going to get here. I don't see there being a single new game outside of maybe coverage on Metroid Prime 4, which I'll talk about in a second. But yes, so when it comes to remakes, remasters, and ports, we've been hearing about Kirby Planet Robobot, specifically from Nin10doland. Nin10doland is 100% accurate this year. Like, no reason to not believe him. He predicted the Switch 2 Direct, he predicted this Direct, so yeah, and he's also said Planet Robobot is coming. Now, he doesn't know if it's going to be like a remaster or a remake, so something along those lines is going to be happening. I think for sure this is where we see that game. I'm just hoping there's some new content there, or maybe somehow we could get Triple Deluxe bundled with that would be great, but something with Kirby Planet Robobot is pretty much a lock-in my opinion. Something else that I think is a lock is Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War. This is something we've been hearing about for years, that there's going to be some type of Fire Emblem remake and that it was of this game, Genealogy of the Holy War. I don't know much about it, but yes, apparently this game is getting some type of remake, and this seems like the perfect time to reveal something like that. Once again, a Direct full of remakes, remasters, and old games coming back, and this is something that they could just throw out on the Switch in the next couple of months. So I actually would say that this is a lock too, along the side with Kirby, and there's one more game or games that I think is a lock as well. Honestly, I think this is the last opportunity for this game, being Metroid Prime 2 and also Metroid Prime 3. I think both of these games need to be released. If Prime 4 is going to be talked about here at all, or maybe even talked about in the Switch 2 Direct in 7 days, Nintendo needs to get these games out first. This is a 4th game of a 3-game installment that came before it, so they need to get all the rest of the games out to kind of complete that story. A lot of people are like, who's Psylux? And it's not a big deal. I mean, they could probably just look it up. There's barely any information on the character. Most of the information actually comes from Metroid Prime Hunters on the DS. I'm getting off track. But yes, we need 2 and 3. So hopefully we see that here. I don't care if it's as good as Prime 1 Remaster or if it's just not as good. I just want those games on Switch because I don't want to have to play Prime 1 on Switch and 2 and 3 back on the Wii or Wii U. So yeah, I'm hoping that's what Nintendo actually decides to reveal. And as far as Metroid Prime 4 goes, I'm kind of torn. There's a lot of countering, arguments online right now. There's a lot of people claiming that they've heard reports that Prime 4 is going to be saved for the Switch 2 Direct and be one of the biggest titles shown there. And I see reports saying no, Prime 4 is going to actually be revealed on the Switch 1 Direct, and it's going to show off the game in there, and it's not going to appear at all in the Switch 2 Direct. So who knows? We'll actually know the answer to this tomorrow, because if we go throughout this entire presentation and don't see Metroid Prime 4, it's a pretty safe bet that it's 100% locked in for the Switch 2 Direct. So if we do see it here, I think we get a quick overview. This is only a 30-minute show, so I think we just kind of maybe just get a new trailer. I don't even know if we get an overview. I feel like it's just a new trailer. Maybe we'll get a specific, Metroid Prime 4 Direct later on. But yeah, I think we get a new trailer here. Maybe they even announce it's like going to be co-released like on Switch 1 and also on Switch 2. So I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see, but very much likely getting something Metroid in this Direct. Those to me are the guarantees. As far as anything else extra that we could be getting, well, I think there's still a couple of games on the list. We still have been hearing rumors in the past about an F-Zero GX. I think an F-Zero GX remake or remaster of some sort today would be really good. This is something that could even shadow drop right after the Direct to get people interested in. I really hope this is coming, because as somebody who actually slept on the series, played it a year ago and absolutely loved it, I would love to see it return. It's an extremely tough race racing game, and it's very different than Mario Kart, which is something that I had to get used to, and I actually really ended up loving it, and I think a lot of people would as well. Not to mention, I think Zelda should get some love this year, and it probably will in that Switch 2 Direct, whether it's going to be like a Breath of the Wild HD again or something like that, or maybe it's something else entirely different. Maybe it's a remake or a remaster of an older game. I know we've been talking about Ocarina of Time getting a remake. If that's true, I hope it's from a ground up, you know, kind of reimagining almost of the game, and bringing that to Switch 2. So if we get anything Zelda here, I think it's going to be a lot smaller. It's going to be something along the scales of Wind Waker or Twilight Princess HD coming to Switch. And I think that's something that could be easily just brought up in the Direct and also shadow dropped immediately. So I'm hoping that happens as well. That would make me really happy. Or maybe it's even a combo pack of both of those games. So that's something that I could definitely see happening as well. You guys might be wondering, what game do I really want to see here? And it's two games that I think I really would love to see. My expectations are definitely set with these games, but I would love to see, for one, Kid Icarus Uprising. Oh my gosh, come on. It's a 3DS game. You brought over Luigi's Mansion 2. You brought over Donkey Kong Country Returns, which started on the Wii, but then went to 3DS, and then the Switch. So please, just give us Kid Icarus Uprising HD. Sakurai said a million times that he really wanted this game. He said it would be great to see on the Switch. So please, Nintendo, just bring this game over. A new control scheme would save it so much, and update the mission board and everything, and just give us this game in HD. I don't care if the graphics are even that good at all. I just want to see this game back again. Put some life back into Kid Icarus. Breathe life into that game series, and please, because I eventually would love to see a new one on Switch too. So please just test the waters with this one, see how well it does at the end of the Switch's life cycle. Just give it a chance. And the second game for sure would be Rhythm Heaven. It's kind of crazy we haven't had a Rhythm Heaven game since Mega Mix on the 3DS, and how Switch didn't have a single one, which felt like it was just made to have one, like using the Joy-Con or something. And the fact that we got two WarioWare games and not a single Rhythm Heaven game is so frustrating. So if there's any like big surprise, it would definitely be Kid Icarus or Rhythm Heaven for me for sure. We're just gonna have to wait and see what Nintendo has in store. Yes, I know normally I say have expectations, be excited, be thrilled, but this is a shorter show, and this is a Direct that's about to be followed up by a Switch 2 Direct. So, you know, what I will say right now is definitely temper some expectations, because we're not getting Mario, we're not getting Mario Kart, 3D Mario, anything like that, the next Zelda, Animal Crossing. It's going to be a smaller show, but I do think there's going to be some fun surprises. And I mean, at the end of the day, you have no reason to be upset by anything that happens in the show, because obviously in 7 days you have the Switch 2 Nintendo Direct. So just look forward to that no matter what. But think of tomorrow as a sweet treat before the main course. Like, I don't know who eats sweet treats before the main course. Okay, how about an appetizer before the main course? That's better. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. You're going to want to stay updated on everything that's about to be announced within the next week or two. So definitely make sure you have post notifications turned on, and come right back here for all your Nintendo news and updates. Thank you guys, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.